Everyone out in YouTube land, I'm coming to you tonight. My dad has just died today. My two brothers and I were there when it happened. Forgive me if I seem a little uh, different than you usually see me be, because I'm pretty sad, but also just very happy for my father and the way that he passed. So this video is not for everyone on the web. This, if you don't like a little bit nostalgic, if you don't like sad, if you don't like in some ways triumphant from a Christian point of view, then you probably just want to turn this video off. But I'm doing this video for Dad and just the memory of him, and there will be more that come. So first of all, we've been telling a lot of stories about Dad since his passing, and I thought I would share just a couple of these with you because they're so amazing, and so you understand why we feel how we feel about him. First of all, he was a brilliant man. He was like a Renaissance man. There were so many things he could do, so many things he could teach you to do, and to us, he was like Superman. I know most people's dads are like that to them. I'm going to tell a quick story. First of all, I want to say this. My mom is just as awesome a parent and just as great a person as my dad. And so keep her in your prayers. If you're the praying type. If you're not the praying type, just remember her too. She's great. You might have seen her in some of my videos as well. But anyway, Dad was good to people. He lived these guys that lived the golden rule. He was that guy. And was he perfect? No. He could be so cantankerous, and he could be, sometimes he could rub you the wrong way and everything. Us as kids and everything. That's because we were hard to deal with too. We were difficult. But to every person that Dad came encountered with, he showed respect. Yeah, I'm not talking well. I've had 1 hour sleep in 36, but he showed respect. He showed love. He always tried to be helpful. He tried to give his best and leave all people with something good and positive. And I've only seen him get mad maybe a handful of times, and he could be a very powerful, scary person if he were defending those he loved. That's the only time I've ever seen him get mad. Was one time something kind of unjust had happened to me, and he went on the defense, and I could see this frightening side of my dad if he needed to be that way. But 99.9% of the time, he was that man that was walking the earth, trying to be good and do good. And he was not a do-gooder. That doesn't mean that he didn't at times drink a spot of moonshine or, get into some stuff he might not ought to get into. Those of you that maybe knew him when he was young would know that, but he was awesome. And I'm going to tell you this one story we've been telling back and forth because it involves my brother Tom, and it is a funny story. And so the brothers have been just remembering this. Is one of the stories that keep coming up, and maybe I'll share some more later. But Dad had was going to get hay out of an old barn. There was a guy that had his name was Larry Bird, that had a barn down at the foot of Crabtree Road and Highway 19 down if you're headed towards Spruce Pine. Anyway, we'd been, I guess, given this hay and all, but we had to clean the barn out. And so the barn was full of loose hay. People in the old days would throw loose hay up into the lofts of barns. This was a huge barn. There were bales of hay up there too. I was maybe 9 years old. Tom was maybe 3. And so Tom was a cantankerous kid too. He would run around. He was contentious, and he was just always into mischief and everything. And we didn't have anyone to babysit him that day, so Dad and I were working in the hay, moving hay around. And the loft of this barn had these things called scuttle holes in it. Those of you who don't know what that is, it's a hole cut into the floor of the loft of the barn, and there's a whole section down below where the animals would be. And there are mangers down there. The manger is where the hay, you'd throw the hay down through the scuttle hole, and the animal would have the hay to eat. And my dad had been fussing at Tom, settle down, son. And I'm helping move hay. We have pitchforks and stuff. And all of a sudden, Tom disappears. And this happens like this. And Tom fell down a scuttle hole. But the scuttle hole was angular. I mean, in other words, it was like a hole in the floor, squared off hole. And Tom's tennis shoes, like little kids' tennis shoes. One foot hung where his toe was sticking on this edge, and his heel was sticking on the other edge. And he was actually, just like a miracle has happened, but he was dangling upside down by one foot in his scuttle hole. And this is what it's all been blazing in my memory. What I saw. Dad was maybe 12 feet away. I'm standing right beside Tom, watching him dangle, not knowing what to do. My dad, in what seemed like a split second, I don't know how he moved so fast, was over there, bent over, grabbed Tom with one hand by that foot, and lifted him straight up. I don't know how much Tom weighed, but he lifted him straight up. It looked like something out of Spider-Man. It looked like a superhero moment. I'll never forget that. Tom can remember it. It's one of the things that Tom can remember. And I just never forget the view of Dad holding my brother up with one hand with that foot while Tom dangles like this upside down screaming. And that's one of thousands of incredible stories I could tell about the man. But just know this, his passing was peaceful. And my dad read the Bible from cover to cover. My mom too, but my dad, he read the Bible, and he would to sit and look at his Bible and to look at the verses that he's underlined and the things that were clearly very important to him, is like highly educational. They were always, the things he would underline were things about being humble, about being good to people, about putting other people first. But one of his favorite verses he would talk about, he'd say, what did he say? There's a verse in the Bible about if you have pride, you'll be abased, but if you're humble, you'll be lifted up. I'm not saying it right. I should look it up. But he was one of those people that believed and understood that being humble was one of the greatest ways to be Christ-like. But when he died, my brother Tim was there. My brother Tom, was just us three. Mom was at home. She'd been resting. We'd been a trial for all of us, his battle with ALS. But my brother Tim noticed that he wasn't breathing. Tim noticed his breathing pattern had substantially changed. We went around and got to the bed. My brother Tim and I were there, and Tom had gone to get the staff there at the hospice at the VA center, which were great to Dad. And they were all three in there as he breathed his last breath, and it was just incredibly peaceful. Incredibly peaceful. And we were torn all up. So I've cried 1,000 tears already. My brother Tim and Tom, we all have. So we lost a great, great guy, a great father, and just a real treasure to humanity today. So that's my little sad tale. I'm going to put some more videos of my dad online. I have a ton of video of me and my dad driving around and him just being quiet. We just, a lot of times, I don't know that we knew how to communicate real well, he and I, but we did. We could just look at each other and communicate. Sometimes just sitting in silence, driving around looking at the beautiful mountains of North Carolina. That was all it took for me and Dad to be together and enjoy our time. And so there's a lot of video I've not put out with him because I thought people would just find it boring, but I realize now that those quiet times with him, just riding around and looking, and just the little brief moments we would talk just a little bit, those were some of the most amazing, intimate, perfect times of my life. I love my mom. Pray for my mom. Like I say, she's no less an awesome parent than my dad. And pray for the family. And I would say the lesson of my dad's life is try to be good to people. Be good to people, show respect. Try to get along well with all men. Don't speak ill of anyone. Dad was not the kind of person that would speak mean about any person. He didn't say things behind people's back. He was hardworking. He was brilliant, but not haughty. He never put himself above anybody else. He never saw himself as better than anyone else. Those are the lessons I'm learning from him, and there are 1,000 other ones. But it's very rare to find a human being like that in this world. So that's my little 1 minute, 15 minute, whatever it's been, tribute to my dad. He was the best. And anything that I am is because the root of it started in Carolyn Mitchell and Hugh Taylor Glenn. Mary Carolyn Mitchell and Hugh Taylor Glenn. Thanks, folks. Thanks for watching. I'm going to attach this to some of the Facebook quotes I'm seeing, and so people can see my 2 cents worth. He was the best. God bless you all. Peace to all who watch.